This is the Adidas COPA Sense Plus. It's been through a lot of changes compared to the last two generations and also has a new look, which I think looks insanely classy. But is it any good? And should you buy it if you're a leather boot fan? I'm JayMike, and this is the COPA Sense review.
The new COPA Sense Plus continues where the COPA 20 Plus left off, but wants to focus even more on your touch. And to do so, Adidas have included some features that are supposed to amplify your senses.
And yeah, that sounds like marketing fluff, right? But when I got the boots in hand, I actually got where Adidas wanted to go. Because just like last year, we got a fusion skin upper with a leather forefoot, a knit tongue that's then been stitched together and coated with a thin silicone layer to make it look and feel like a one-piece upper. But what's new is that Adidas have introduced the so-called Sense Pod and a Touch Pod to make your feet feel more connected to the boots and the ball. So yeah, but more on that later. Because the first thing I noticed when I got the boots on was how the COPA is now a bit wider in the forefoot while it remains pretty tight and snug in the midfoot. The new color here might look a bit odd, but it's actually pretty comfortable, nice and stretchy, and moves really well with the lower part of the ankle with that very free sensation. And in general, the Sense Plus just feels a bit more anatomical compared to last year because it's nice and curved and just fits really naturally around your foot. That also means that just like the last generations of the COPA, the Sense is comfortable. And while the leather might not be as plush and pillow-like and thick as the 19 and 20 Plus, it's still pretty welcoming and giving you that pliable leather-like sensation from the get-go, so that's at least something. With that said, it's just less Michelin Man down jacket-like and more motorcycle jacket-like because it's slightly tighter fitting and more snug and a bit more glove-like. You could say that it's a bit of a seductive fit.
Once you shake the room.
But because of the tight-fitting midfoot and the Sense pods and heel counter holding your foot in place pretty well, the lockdown is actually better than I expected, and I would classify it as decent. But the tight fit also means that I actually had to go up half a size in order to get the most comfortable fit, even with my slim foot. Also meaning that, well, it's probably not the best fit for people with really wide or fat feet. Sorry. But with that said, the boot is definitely pretty comfortable, but it's also a rather different direction compared to last year where you got leather love in abundance. It makes you feel elegant, it's just very different.
The so-called Sense Frame outsole is also new and focuses on comfort and stability.
And it is pretty solid. It's stable and comfortable, but has enough traction for the boots to feel potent when you want to change direction. And also the heel count is really strong and stable, and I like that a lot. Oh, and then Adidas made the two front studs here with soft TPU tips in order for you to absorb force and cushion the ball when you control it in the touch area. Does it work? Maybe, but I haven't really noticed it.
However, Adidas have gone big on their Sense theme and introduced the Touch Pod in the same area, which is a foam pod made to enhance your sensation on the ball.
In terms of grip, you get a little bit of a tactile sensation on the upper, but it is overall pretty smooth. When it comes to shooting, it's still very no-nonsense because you get this big, clean striking surface and, of course, the Touch Pod. But I did have to get used to the slightly raised toe compared to the COPA 20 Pluses, which brings us to 4 annoying things you need to know about the COPA Sense Plus. First up, the amount of leather, because there's just so little of it compared to last year especially that selling the Sense Plus on the whole leather COPA heritage story is just a little bit Secondly, the Sense pods in the heel, which are nice for lockdown and securing your heel in place, but they're also a little bit rough and plasticky and stiff around your foot, which could cause some blisters. I got lucky, I escaped, but would it have hurt you to make them out of, a soft material like some sort of suede for comfort as well? Oh, and there's a bit of creasing on the toe box when you bend your foot at first, causing a few minor pressure points on top of your foot. And I know it's called Sense, but Adidas pressure points is not on the list of sensations I want to have in this. So hopefully that goes away when I properly break these in. Finally, we're coming back to that raised toe box, which might be a bit of nitpicking, I admit that, but it took a bit too much time for me to get used to it because you need to get a bit more under the ball. And it also causes the Sense Plus to feel a bit less nimble than the 20 Plus, at least until you get used to it.
However, the things that do work on the COPA Sense work well. And despite going in a different direction from a boot I really liked, the Sense Plus works.
Because the COPA Sense Plus is a lovely, great fitting, comfortable leather boot with a bit of an elegant, snazzy touch to it. But the small amount of leather also means that really hardcore leather boot fanatics might want to go and get their fix somewhere else. With that said, if you are after a leather boot but with a slightly more modern and sleek and streamlined sensation, these are pretty unique and actually very good. And I reckon that they're one of the best looking boots on the market. And if you feel the same way, you can actually go and buy the COPA Sense Plus from the link to unisportstore.com right over there. Not, of course, before you make sure you subscribe to the channel with the notifications on. And if you want to go and learn how to improve as a football player, get that elegant touch, you can click the playlist in the corner right down there. With that said, guys, I'll be signing off. Cheerio.